Monster Castle, paranormal, radio hound, Monster Castle, paranormal, digital radio, KTLK.
What is that? He says, yeah, it's really weird, man. They call it the form, and when they say the form, it's like capital T and capital F. They're very mysterious about it. I said, wow. He says, yeah, when you talk to them, it's meaning the masters or the adepts, he says, it's like real big secret, like the atomic bomb or something. And so I said, I got a dance, self-defense dance? He says, yeah, but you got to practice it for 5 years before you can think of using it as a martial art. And so I was intrigued, and within, 3 years later, Tai Chi Masters came into my life, and a Tai Chi Grandmaster, and they invited me to join their school, and they trained me in return for my services as a photographer, as a driver, as a gopher, as a Man Friday. So I had the privilege of learning from a master and a grandmaster between 1971 and 1975. And thereafter, I marked 1975 as the time that the Grandmaster passed away, at which time I had a profound spiritual experience when his spirit came to visit me.
Oh, please tell us.
Well, it's an amazing story because it involves 5 days of time from a very, very disturbing remote viewing or lucid dreaming scene where I was in this was a dream state, and I found myself in my living room looking out the window on a sunny day, and I looked and I saw a 747 gliding down with engines gone. It was going to crash, and this voice said to me, Robert, you might die. There's going to be this crash. And so I ran through the house trying to escape the crash, but I heard the airplane hit the building and crash into the building across the street. And I looked out a window, and I could see the airplane impaled in the building and the wings straddling the other building, and then the engine broke off and exploded, and that's the point at which I woke up totally bathed in sweat and trembling and, in quite a bit of shock, to be honest with you. And the first thought was, my brother's in mortal danger. And I thought it was my physical brothers, but 5 days later, I would find out that it was my spiritual brother, my teacher, the late Grandmaster, Professor Cheng Man-ching, because on the following Friday, in the middle of the afternoon, I suddenly started to shake and tremble, and I felt something in my system, my energy system, was being affected. So I laid down and started doing some meditation, and within a few minutes of starting this breathing meditation that I had learned from the Grandmasters, my soul stepped out of my body and was standing in precisely the same spot where I'd been in the dream. And I said to myself, wow, this is where I was in the dream 5 days ago. I looked out the window, but there was no 747 coming down. And then I heard a voice say, Robert, get back into your body. There's somebody else in here. And I said to myself, whoa, that's a strange thought to think. And then it was an imperative. Robert, get back into your body. There's somebody else in here. And zip, I was back in my body, and I was awake, but I was paralyzed. And from the other room, I saw somebody walking toward my bed in a black robe with a down, like a skirt below the kneecaps. And I started to get frightened. How could anybody get in my house when I'm here alone? And I clenched my fist. I clenched my fist. Yeah. And then his voice said, don't be afraid, Robert. Nothing can harm you. And I decided to trust it. So,
we're up for a break here, Robert.
Okay. We'll come back after the break.
Yeah, it's the bottom of the hour. Sorry to interrupt you, man. Can you remember that spot in your story?
Oh, yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, all right. Everyone listening, if you're not in the chat room, you should get in Wolfman's Bouncy Castle. And you can go to hashtag 47Talk in Twitter, or you can go to Spreaker.com. That's SPR. Spreaker.com, and then look up Monster Castle Paranormal. You'll find it, and then what you do is you click on the episode that says Saturday Night Special, and then below it it'll say info and comments. Then click on comments, and you are in the Bouncy Castle. It is fun in there, and it's groovy, and it's happening. And it's interactive, and I watch all the comments. You can post your questions there, and you can call in later. This is Blue Shit.
Ten a tu chica de tu lado debe entender. Tómala fuerte de tu mano. Ya luego no la podrás tener. Si aceptas que estás cerrado, ella te lo va a agradecer.
Back. I can't find something right yet. But we're back. That was short. That was weird. I didn't know it was that short of a song, but oh well.
That's okay.
That's
Robert,
really
you still there?
Freaky song.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
That's okay.
All right.
What a strange
start up
band,
again?
man. What a strange band. Yeah, I'll have more from them later.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long do we have you for, Robert?
Another 24 minutes.
Okay. So we better accelerate this. You want to finish the story about what your
Of course.
master said?
If you're ready.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, this apparition is walking toward me, and I got frightened, as most human beings would. We had an intruder. I clenched my fist, and the voice said, "Don't be afraid, Robert. Nothing can harm you." So I decided to trust it and weather it out. That was my exact word. Okay, I'll trust this. I'll weather this out. And the person came over to my bedside and extended his left hand and touched my forehead. And at that moment, I was infused with bliss, universal love. I couldn't believe that anybody could love me that much. And I was quite overwhelmed by the whole awesome nature of this experience as I was going through it, and paralyzed at the same time as I couldn't move. But then curiosity got the better of me, and I really wanted to see who this person was. As it was, I was paralyzed, my left eye was open, my right eye was closed, and I was slightly on my left side. So I could see from the ground up, but when the person approached my bed, I could see from the chest down, and the arm, and the hand, and the vestments, the clothing. And I decided I have to see who this is. So with all my might, I broke the paralysis, and I reached with the hand that had been the clenched fist, came up to my eyeball, my right eyeball, and with my 5 fingers, I tried to pry open my eyelid to be able to see who was standing there. And for the life of me, with all the strength and power that I have in my hands, as I mentioned, I studied Tiger Claw Kung Fu for years, and I never lost that power in my fingers, and yet my right eye would not open for anything. When I did that, this person stepped back, they smoothly, quietly turned, walked away, back into the room from which he'd walked in. Now I could see it was male. I saw the back of a white head and a black robe below the knees, and then I looked at the feet, and the feet appeared not to touch the ground. It looked like he was walking on air. And then I looked at the whole body, and then it evaporated, disappeared from the upper right shoulder down to the lower left leg. And I said to myself, oh my God, that's why they call them shades. Because he just rolled up like a shade, but it was going downward. And the other thing, actually the first thing I actually said was, oh my God, it's just like the teleportation machine on Star Trek. then I said, now I understand why they call them shades. And as soon as he disappeared, the paralysis was broken. I got up in this incredible state of being, energy, awe, and called my girlfriend to tell her about this awesome thing that had just happened. And an hour later, she was at my home, and I was telling her this with a much more excited and agitated state of being when the door sounded, and I went to open it, and a friend of mine, who's usually a very happy-go-lucky rock and roller named Kenny, was standing there really glum, and I looked at him, and he said to me, Robert, I got some bad news for you. And I said, what could be so bad as to make his face look like that? And he said, Professor Chang is dead. He died 3 days ago in China. My friend just read it in the Chinese newspaper. And literally, when that happened, when he said those words, there was a light inside my brain, in my forehead, that was like an atom bomb. And I saw this atom bomb go when the mushroom cloud and the flash of light. And this was a line of demarcation in my life. And in the dream 5 days before said to me, you might die, Robert. And you know what? At that moment, the old me died, because I would never be the same man again. I haven't been. And it actually made me devote my life to Tai Chi, because I thought that if this old gentleman, this great grandmaster, loved me so much to come and say goodbye in that manner, then Tai Chi was the thing that I was born to live, born to do. And it's been the hub of all these other projects and pursuits in my life that has centered me and saved me throughout them from very serious consequences of very different natures, both spiritual nature, physical nature, until I get my job done. We're all here for a purpose, and I have found a large part of my purpose in the work that I've done. But I share that with you because I really wanted to reaffirm that we are spirits, and that we are more than flesh, and that everything is conspiring in our society to deny us our birthright, which is a spiritual birthright. Your soul is your own, and it is real, and it does not die. And I can tell you this because this event set me up for the rest of my life to become, I openly say it, I'm a necromancer. I'm a person who communicates with the dead. They communicate with me. I don't ask them to come, but they do. And often it's been seeking help from souls that are not at rest. And other times it has been from souls that cared about me and loved me and came to protect me, to steer me in a different direction, in the right. So,
have you ever felt that kind of love after him from somebody else, or was that like the one pivotal moment?
No, once actually, what that did is it opened it up in me, and what happened is it's a very interesting question you asked, because it's directly related to the subject of spiritual warfare. About 2 years later, I told this story to an overly fundamentalist friend of mine, and he said to me, oh, that could be Satan, that could be the devil, that could be a demon. Oh, you better be careful. And I was really PO'd at it. And so I challenged God. I said, hey, if this is the case, I really don't want any part of it. I want to see who you are. Right? And it was a very, very, one might call it prayer, but if a prayer challenges God, it's got to be something else, Show yourself.
Yeah.
So what happened was I wound up snatched, I would say my soul was snatched out of my body, and I was taken to a place where I was looking at this really fetid corpse sitting in a chair, and it was, for all intents and purposes, a tall, gray extraterrestrial. But because of this experience that I had with death, I can look upon a body very detachedly and know that it's just a shell. But all of a sudden, this thing became animate. And it became animate in a very sinister form. It looked up at me, and turned its head, and glared at me, and started kind of stalking me, coming at me, toward me, very slowly but menacingly, and saying, "Ah ha ha, I was dead, but now I'm alive. I'm going to take your soul." And in that very menacing manner, trying to engender fear in me, which for a split second it did, as this thing was approaching me. Again, human reflex reaction, self-defense. I clenched my fist, and then I realized this thing is animate but not alive. It's dead. You can't kill a dead thing. You can't fight it this way. And as he was as I was having these thoughts, he was continuing in this pace, reaching out with a kind of a claw-like hand, reaching for my heart, as if to snatch my heart. And I realized I can't fight it this way, and I switched my hand to a pointed finger, index finger, pointing directly at him, and I said to him, "I love you. I love you because God created you, and if he did so, there had to be a good reason." And when I said those words, there was a crack in my chest like an egg, and this wave of heat came out and propagated, and it distorted the air like a mirage does in the desert as it propagated out. And at the point where he was reaching to get me, when that wave touched this being, this alien's hand, it burned him. The love literally burned his hand. He screamed. He screamed in pain, and then went poof and disappeared. And I said to myself, "Oh my God, that thing disappeared like a vampire seeing sunlight." And I was back in my bed and gagging and puking and trembling and sweating and going, "Oh my God," really all shaken up, because it was really horrible.
It sounds like it. That was the answer to your prayer?
Well, listen to this. The prayer, yes, it was answered, and I'll explain it to you in a second. During the experience, I was aware that this thing, I called it fetid. I think it was a corpse. It really was a stinking thing. And I really might have been suppressed, because if I had been able to smell, it would have been beyond my ability to take it, I think. So when I came back, I was gagging and I was spitting out, because it was almost as if the taste had been in the air. And when I said words, the molecules touched my tongue, and I was spitting and gagging. And I went to bed trembling and cold, really cold. But then the next morning I realized, oh my God, you challenged God. He gave you a lesson for life. Yeah, he showed himself when that crack happened in my heart, and that wave of love came out and defeated this evil being. Yeah, my prayer was answered.
Are they evil? Are the Greys evil?
I do. I define everything they do to human beings as evil. If you or I or Wolfman did any of these things, abduct somebody against their will, impregnate them against their will, come back
or Igor too. He's mostly Igor. I abduct somebody.
So I don't condone this stuff of, the Greys are wiser, they know what they're doing, they're trying to help us.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 23148788889 is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
I couldn't get rid of it until I expanded the screen. Sorry about that. Is Robert gone? Well, what just happened there, man? Robert? I don't know what just happened there. Are you there, Darren? Somebody screwed up something here. What the hell? This day is not going good for me, folks. I had so many technical difficulties. Who is there on the call?
I'm having serious technical difficulties.
Who is this?
Zach.
Oh, okay, Zach. Yeah, well, we lost Robert. Hang on a second. I'm gonna try to get him back. I'm not sure what's going on here because when you tried calling, it booted him off. Okay, hang on a sec. I'm gonna try to add you.
There he is. There he is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hello.
Okay, there we go. There we go.
So as I was saying, if any of us did any of those things that the Greys do regularly to human beings and worse things to animals, we'd all be in jail. So I don't condone...
Call has been forwarded to an
What
automatic
the hell?
voice message system.
Just ignore that.
148.
Don't hang up, Robert.
You know what, Zach? Don't call back if it's gonna keep doing that.
I'm here.
For a little while.
Okay, we're here. Finish your story.
That's what I was saying. Well, I don't condone anything that the Greys do. People, the Space Brother people think, oh, you know, they're loving Space Brothers and they're here to help us and make us better and avoid catastrophe. I don't believe any of that. I've experienced them several times in my life. They ruined my younger brother's childhood. At the age of 7, he was abducted in the Catskills by, in the words of a 7-year-old boy, little munchkin guys with black eyes. And he traumatized him and many other children. And so I don't trust anything alien. I don't trust extraterrestrials. Trust, loyalty, an agreement, a bargain, all of these are human concepts. Aliens do not understand human concepts. And they are out for whatever they are out for. And in the case of the Greys, they have a very sinister agenda. They are trying to clone hybrids of themselves with us. And as I said to you, my encounters with them show me that they are animate but not alive. That is to say, they are a form of intelligence that is animate, it's very powerful, it's very knowledgeable, but it does not have a soul. It is not alive in the way that we are alive. And that was the answer to my prayer, friends. That energy that I felt, that love that came out of me when I said to the creature, I love you because God created you. And if he created you, there had to be a good reason. That was my life force itself. And I realized then that it is that life force that's coursing through our bloodstreams and giving us consciousness is God itself.
Fucking thing ain't working. Oh, sorry.
That's what I believe.
What's one of the scariest stories I've ever heard on this show? That's awful.
No, it is awful. It was a very, very unpleasant experience. But you know, that's spiritual warfare. It's not an easy road. The road of distraction, the road of distraction is the perfect word. You know, when you're paying attention to a world view that is contrived, as it is contrived every day by the mass media, and it takes your attention away from these really important things, which is, well, where does your soul go at night?
Mike.
What did your soul say to you last night? When's the last time you found yourself?
Mike, Wolfman.
Hello.
Hey, I hear Debbie.
Hi, Debbie. Can you hear us, Debbie?
I cannot hear you. You want me to call into Wolfman Mike 47 or?
Yeah, there's something wrong with this line.
All right, bye.
So that's what I was saying, that these are we are spiritual beings and we've been distracted from our true nature, and so many of us are suffering.
Robert,
yeah, go ahead.
can we change the subject a little bit?
Sure. Where do you want to go?
I want to ask you about Richard's stuff on the moon. What?
Mike. Mike?
You got to take my contact, accept my contact, and then I can add you in. Or give me a contact thing,
all right,
okay?
bye. Hang up.
Okay. Wow. I'm sorry, folks. I'm having a mess here. Oh, man. That sucks. Resume. This should work. Resume. Come on. Wow. Come on. What the hell? Resume call. It's not doing anything. Okay. What the hell's going on here? There is